Welcome to the Kaufmann Desert.
The Kaufmann Desert House is located in Palm Springs, California, one of the most famous desert cities in the United States. Palm Springs is well known for its dry, warm climate, its breathtaking desert views, and the dramatic San Jacinto Mountains that rise up just behind the city. During the mid-1900s, Palm Springs became a glamorous getaway for Hollywood actors, wealthy families, and people searching for peace away from the big cities like Los Angeles. The area's wide open land, sunny skies, and calm atmosphere made it the perfect place to experiment with new ideas in architecture. This setting allowed Richard Neutra, the architect of the Kaufmann Desert House, to design a home that truly connected with nature instead of hiding from it. The clear desert air, long stretches of sand, and the contrast of green palm trees against brown mountain rock gave the house a unique backdrop. Neutra placed the house in a way that allowed the sunlight to glow through its glass walls during the day, while at night the desert sky stretched endlessly above. Unlike city homes that feel boxed in by tall buildings, this location gave the house freedom, space, and harmony with its surroundings. It was more than just a desert vacation home. It was a bold experiment that blended architecture with landscape. Today, Palm Springs is still known as the capital of mid-century modern design, and the Kaufmann Desert House remains one of the city's most important and inspiring treasures. The Kaufmann Desert House was built in 1946, just after World War II, during a time when America was moving into a new modern age. This period was filled with fresh ideas, and people were eager to try new designs and lifestyles that broke away from the past. Edgar J. Kaufmann, the wealthy businessman who had already made history with Falling Water in Pennsylvania, wanted a new vacation home in the desert. Instead of choosing the traditional Spanish-style villas or heavy stone mansions that were common in California, he decided on something completely different. He hired Richard Neutra, one of the greatest modernist architects of the time, to design a home that would fit perfectly with the desert environment. The year 1946 was also important because materials like steel and glass, which were widely used in the war effort, were now being applied to architecture. Neutra used these industrial materials to create a house that was light, open, and forward-thinking. The timing made the Kaufmann Desert House stand out as a bold statement of modern living, built at the dawn of America's post-war boom. It showed the optimism and creativity of that era. The clean lines, flat roofs, and wide glass walls reflected a new kind of design that was simple, functional, and elegant. In many ways, the fact that it was built in 1946 made it both a product of its time and a timeless piece of architecture. Even today, it remains one of the greatest houses ever created in the 20th century. The Kaufmann Desert House was commissioned by Edgar J. Kaufmann, a wealthy businessman from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Kaufmann made his fortune in retail, running one of the most successful department stores in America during the early 20th century. Known for his sharp business skills and taste for elegance, he was a man who wanted his lifestyle to reflect both success and sophistication. He was not only wealthy, but also deeply interested in art, design, and architecture. In fact, he was already famous for commissioning one of the greatest houses in the world, Falling Water, designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. That home, built over a waterfall in Pennsylvania, made Kaufmann's name forever linked to architectural history. But Kaufmann was not satisfied with just one masterpiece. As he grew older, he wanted a second home where he could escape the cold winters of the East and enjoy the warmth of California's desert. Palm Springs, with its rising reputation as a glamorous retreat for Hollywood stars, was the perfect choice. To bring his vision to life, Kaufmann turned to Richard Neutra, a modernist architect who had a very different style than Wright. Where Wright was bold and dramatic, Neutra was sleek, minimal, and focused on blending indoor and outdoor spaces. By hiring Neutra, Kaufmann showed his deep appreciation for architecture's many possibilities. The result was not just another vacation house, but a second masterpiece. Kaufmann's willingness to invest in great design gave the world two of the most important houses in history. The Kaufmann Desert House was designed by Richard Neutra, one of the greatest masters of modernist architecture. Neutra was born in Austria in 1892, but he later moved to the United States, where he became a leading voice in shaping modern design. He believed that a house should not just be a shelter, but a place where people could live in harmony with nature. Unlike older architects, who often built heavy, enclosed houses, Neutra focused on light, openness, and connection to the environment. His designs often used steel, glass, and simple geometric shapes to create clean and elegant spaces. By the time Edgar Kaufmann approached him in the 1940s, Neutra had already built a strong reputation for creating homes that were both practical and beautiful. What made Neutra unique was his attention to how people lived in a space. He studied the way sunlight entered a room, how breezes moved through, and how families interacted with their surroundings. For the Kaufmann Desert House, Neutra wanted to design a home that belonged to the desert instead of fighting it. He used wide glass walls to open the house to the mountains and sky, and he balanced sleek steel lines with natural stone to ground the structure. Neutra's philosophy of indoor-outdoor living was perfectly expressed here, making the house one of his most famous works. Through this design, Richard Neutra proved that modern architecture could be both stylish and deeply connected to the natural world. The Kaufmann Desert House is considered one of the greatest examples of mid-century modern architecture, a style that became popular in the 1940s. Open spaces and harmony with the natural environment. Instead of heavy decoration or overly complex shapes, this style used clean lines, flat roofs, and wide glass walls to create a sense of openness and freedom. The Kaufmann Desert House shows all of these qualities in a striking way. Its design is sleek and minimal, yet it feels warm and inviting because of the way it blends with the desert landscape. The house doesn't try to dominate its surroundings. Instead, it works with the natural beauty of Palm Springs. The large sliding glass walls make the boundaries between indoors and outdoors almost disappear, allowing sunlight, breezes, and desert views to flow through the home. At the same time, the use of stone, steel, and wood gave the structure a timeless elegance. This balance of nature and modern materials is what makes mid-century modern design so special. The Kaufmann Desert House is often described as one of the purest examples of this movement, showing how architecture can be both functional and artistic. It inspired countless other homes in Palm Springs and beyond, turning the city into a symbol of mid-century modern living. Today, when people think of stylish desert homes, they often imagine the same design ideas that were perfected in this house. The Kaufmann Desert House stands out not only for its design, but also for the materials used to build its steel, glass, and stone. These choices may seem simple today, but in 1946, they were bold and modern. Steel gave the house strength and allowed Richard Neutra to create long, flat roofs that stretched outward without heavy support columns. This made the house look light and open, almost like it was floating above the desert floor. Glass was used on a massive scale, with huge sliding walls that made the boundaries between indoors and outdoors nearly invisible. These glass walls allowed natural light to flood every room and gave residents a constant view of the surrounding desert and mountains. They also expressed Neutra's idea that people should feel connected to nature while still enjoying the comfort of home. Stone added the opposite effect. It grounded the house and tied it back to the desert landscape. The stone walls felt solid, natural, and timeless, making the house look like it grew out of the earth itself. Together, these three materials created a perfect balance: steel for modern engineering, glass for openness and light, and stone for strength and connection to nature. This combination became a defining feature of mid-century modern architecture, and the Kaufmann Desert House remains one of the best examples of how materials can shape not just a building, but the experience of living inside it. One of the most striking and unforgettable features of the Kaufmann Desert House is its huge sliding glass walls that connect. Richard Neutra designed these sliding panels to erase the barrier between house and landscape, giving the family an ever-changing experience with nature. During the day, the glass walls framed stunning views of the San Jacinto Mountains, the bright blue sky, and the warm desert sands. At night, they allowed the stars and moonlight to spill into the living spaces, creating a magical connection with the desert sky. The sliding glass walls were also practical in Palm Springs climate. They allowed breezes to flow through the house, keeping it cooler without needing heavy air conditioning. The openness made the home feel larger than it really was, as if the desert itself was another room. This feature became one of the most iconic elements of mid-century modern architecture, influencing countless homes and resorts across California and beyond. More than just windows, these sliding glass walls symbolized freedom, openness, and a new way of living that embraced nature instead of shutting it out. To this day, they remain the detail that makes the Kaufmann Desert House one of the most admired and photographed homes in the entire world. Another key feature of the Kaufmann Desert House is its flat, wide roofs, carefully designed to provide shade in the hot desert sun. In Palm Springs, temperatures can soar, and without proper planning, a home could easily become unbearable. Richard Neutra solved this problem by creating long, horizontal roof lines that stretched outward like wings. These overhangs acted like natural sun shields, blocking the harshest rays during the day, while still allowing light to filter in. The flat roofs also gave the house its sleek, modern look, matching the clean lines and geometric shapes of mid-century modern architecture. Unlike traditional pitched roofs, which are heavy and often dominate a house, Neutra's roofs appeared light and minimal, blending beautifully with the desert horizon. The wide overhangs not only protected the glass walls from overheating, but also created shaded, outdoor areas where residents could relax comfortably, even in the midday sun. This design reflected Neutra's belief that architecture should respond to its environment rather than fight against it. The flat roofs made the house feel balanced, calm, and deeply connected to the desert landscape. They also influenced countless other modern homes, showing how roof design could serve both function and beauty. Today, those clean roof lines remain one of the defining images of the Kaufmann Desert House, a reminder that great architecture is not just about style, but about creating harmony between people, buildings, and the natural world around them. The Kaufmann Desert House was designed with the desert climate in mind, and one of its smartest features was its cooling concept. Palm Springs is known for extremely hot summers, with temperatures often climbing over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. To make the house comfortable, Richard Neutra carefully studied the way air and sunlight moved through the desert. Instead of closing the home off with thick walls, he used open spaces, glass panels, and carefully positioned windows to capture natural breezes. The sliding glass walls could be opened to let fresh air flow through the house, creating a natural cooling system long before modern air conditioning became common. The flat roofs and wide overhangs also shaded the interiors, reducing heat from direct sunlight while still letting in soft, reflected light. Neutra even oriented the house on the land so that it faced the right direction to take advantage of airflow and avoid the harshest sun exposure. The stone walls added another layer of insulation, keeping the inside cooler during the day and warmer at night. This thoughtful design showed that architecture could be both beautiful and practical, especially in extreme climates. The cooling system of the Kaufmann Desert House wasn't just about comfort, it was about sustainability and respect for nature. Neutra proved that by working with the desert instead of against it, a house could provide luxury and relief in one of the harshest environments. This made the home a model for modern desert living that still inspires architects today. One of the most iconic features of the Kaufmann Desert House is its famous poolside view, where architecture and nature come together in perfect harmony. From the edge of the pool, visitors are treated to a breathtaking scene. The flat, modern lines of the house stretching outward, while the towering San Jacinto Mountains rise dramatically in the background. The reflection of the home and the mountains in the still water of the pool creates an image that has been captured countless times by photographers, making it one of the most recognized views in modern architecture. For Edgar Kaufmann and his guests, the poolside was not just a place to swim, but a place to experience the desert in comfort and style. At sunset, the mountains glow with deep orange and purple tones, mirrored in the water, while the house glows softly through its glass walls. This view perfectly represents Richard Neutra's goal of connecting people with their surroundings. Instead of simply building a house with a pool, he framed the entire landscape as part of the design. The poolside became an outdoor living room where the beauty of nature and the elegance of architecture blended seamlessly. This setting gave the home a sense of drama and peace at the same time, making it unforgettable. Even today, when people think of the Kaufmann Desert House, it is often this poolside view with the desert stretching out in front and the San Jacinto Mountains behind that defines its timeless beauty. The Kaufmann Desert House is not just an architectural masterpiece, it is also one of the most photographed houses in the world. Its clean lines, wide glass walls, and stunning desert setting have made it a favorite subject for photographers, filmmakers, and designers for decades. One of the most famous photographs was taken in 1947 by Julius Shulman, the legendary architectural photographer. His black and white images of the house captured its elegance and harmony with the desert landscape, spreading its fame far beyond Palm Springs. Later, in the 1970s and 80s, more photographers returned to the house to highlight its beauty and timeless design. It has appeared in countless magazines, books, and coffee table collections, often representing the very best of mid-century modern architecture. The poolside view, with the San Jacinto Mountains in the background, became an iconic image of modern desert living. Because of these photos, the house reached legendary status even among people who had never seen it in person. It also appeared in films, fashion shoots, and advertisements, reinforcing its place in popular culture. For many, the Kaufmann Desert House is not just a home, but a symbol of style, freedom, and modern elegance. Its cultural impact shows how architecture, when done at the highest level, can inspire not only architects, but also artists, photographers, and everyday people around the world. This fame has helped preserve the house and keep it alive as a symbol of beauty and innovation in design. The Kaufmann Desert House is more than just a private residence. It has become a powerful symbol of open, modern living connected to nature. When Richard Neutra designed the home in 1946, he introduced a vision of life that was very different from the traditional American house. Instead of dark rooms, heavy walls, and closed-off spaces, the Kaufmann Desert House celebrated light, openness, and freedom. Its sliding glass walls allowed people to move easily between indoors and outdoors, while its flat roofs and long lines seemed to extend naturally into the desert horizon. This created a lifestyle where the residents were always aware of the surrounding mountains, sky, and desert air. The house showed that modern living didn't have to mean disconnecting from nature. In fact, it could mean the exact opposite for families of the post-war era. This was an inspiring new idea that a home could provide comfort and luxury while still being deeply tied to the natural world. Over the decades, this influence spread widely, shaping the development of mid-century modern neighborhoods in Palm Springs and beyond. Architects across the world looked to Neutra's design as proof that simplicity and openness could achieve timeless beauty. Even today, when people imagine the ideal modern desert home, they often picture the principles first perfected at the Kaufmann Desert House. Its influence continues to inspire not only architects, but also anyone who dreams of living in harmony with nature while enjoying the elegance of modern design. After Edgar J. Kaufmann's death in 1955, the Kaufmann Desert House entered a long and difficult period in its history. Without its original owner, the home no longer received the same care and attention that had once kept it in pristine condition. Over the years, it passed through several different owners, many of whom did not fully understand or appreciate Richard Neutra's vision. Some owners made changes that damaged the original design, such as adding unnecessary walls, altering the open spaces, or replacing materials with ones that did not fit the mid-century modern style. Others simply allowed the house to fall into neglect, leaving the glass panels dirty, the stone walls weathered, and the pool in poor shape. The harsh desert climate made the situation worse. Constant sun, wind, and heat took their toll on the steel and glass, while sandstorms and temperature extremes wore down the structure. By the late 20th century, the Kaufmann Desert House no longer looked like the masterpiece that had once been celebrated in magazines and photographs. For many years, it stood as a shadow of its former glory, almost forgotten by the public. This period of decay showed how even the most beautiful works of architecture can be vulnerable without care and protection. Yet, the house's reputation as an icon never fully disappeared, and eventually, new owners and preservationists stepped in to restore it. Still, its years of decline remain an important chapter in its story, reminding us of the fragility of architectural treasures. The Kaufmann Desert House might have been lost forever if not for a careful and loving restoration that brought it back to its original design. After decades of neglect and changes that hurt Richard Neutra's vision, a new owner purchased the property in the 1990s with the goal of saving it. Instead of remodeling it with modern tastes, the decision was made to return the house as closely as possible to the way it looked in 1946. This was no easy task. Old photographs, including Julius Schulman's famous images, were studied in detail to guide the restoration process. Original materials had to be sourced, or recreated steel beams were polished. Sliding glass walls were repaired, and the stonework was cleaned to match Neutra's design. The roof overhangs were rebuilt, and the open-air flow of the rooms was restored by removing unnecessary additions from later years. Even the landscaping was returned to its mid-century style, with desert plants placed to frame the home naturally. The restoration took time, money, and enormous attention to detail, but the result was breathtaking. Once again, the house looked like the modernist jewel that had stunned the world in the 1940s. Today, it stands as a rare example of how great architecture can be preserved for future generations when handled with respect. The restoration not only saved the Kaufmann Desert House, but also reignited global appreciation for mid-century modern design, proving that Neutra's masterpiece is as relevant and inspiring now as it was nearly 80 years ago. The Kaufmann Desert House has left behind a powerful legacy as an icon of Palm Springs modernism. Palm Springs is now world famous for its mid-century modern homes, and this house is often seen as the crown jewel of them all. Designed in 1946 by Richard Neutra, it captured